Right, it's time for our weekly lecture of fashion design using CAD. This is our week 3. And during this week, remember to get your attendance points to submit a summary of this lecture by Tuesday night at the latest and take part in the forum discussion. By Friday, post your response to the prompt and then respond to a peers post no later than Saturday. This week, our predominant focus will be in Photoshop for learning new things, but you'll still be completing projects in Adobe Illustrator. These are the two major programs we've utilized in this class, and these are two programs much used in the fashion industry. The topics this week will be building a mood board. It might also be referred to as a color story, a collage, and such. I'll show you some examples of that here in a minute on a couple more slides. And then also a garment on a sketched figure, on a pose, and using Adobe Photoshop, excuse me, to color that in and create shadows and highlights in it. All right, this does seem like a long list, but most of these things were assigned beginning in week 1 or 2. But the typical lecture summary, forum discussion, and the final quiz all their usual due dates: Tuesday for the summary, Friday, Saturday at the latest on the discussion forum, and Saturday for the quiz. Now then, the exercise in Adobe Photoshop, this was covered in week 2, but you were given until Tuesday of this week in order to complete it. Remember, the link for that one is back in week 2. And that will give you some practice in making your selections in Photoshop, utilizing filters and adjustments and effects. I'd like to see some of each of those in that exercise. Now then, the line sheet of the technical line drawings. This is done in Illustrator. It was assigned in week 1. You turned in one line drawing as a practice one, but this week you will be completing the remaining 5 of those technical line drawings, if you have not already, and laying them out on a nice line sheet that looks good and appealing. Your Tech Pack design sheet, this will be done in Microsoft Word. You're taking those line drawings, copying them, and pasting them into that field in the Microsoft Word form, and then fill out any of the other pertinent information fields on that design sheet. You will design a textile pattern and show me 3 different colorways with that layout. So think about your color scheme that you will be putting together, or as you started pulling your Pinterest inspiration pictures last week, that should all start to come together as one big design concept. Your fashion pose with a garment. This was covered in week 2, so it was assigned then that you were to get started on it. It's due at the end of this week. And then the new ones covered this week are the mood board with its color story. This is done in Photoshop. And another fashion pose with a garment. This is also done in Photoshop. You do not have to do the Wix.com website. We will scratch that. I meant to take that off this slide. All right, here's some examples of some line sheets. As you can see, there are the line drawing of the garments. You've got some front and back views of these. But then also notice up in the upper right-hand corner is a fashion pose. It is taking some of these technical drawing garment items and seeing it on a sketched or posed figure. Also note some of the background that this student had used to tie together the whole look. The border stripes that pick up in the color of the skirt, the circles with their opacity turned down so you see some more shapes coming through. They are in the background. They're not taking up a whole lot of distraction from the focus of the garments in the line drawings, but in the big one with the sketch pose, that circle works with the nice title of everything and kind of fills that negative space. Here again are some more examples of some line drawings. They even brought in some of their color squares and incorporated a title for the overall look. Same with the sketch up there in the upper hand right. It's a sketch, it's been filled in or colored in. And then again, another little catchy title to it. It all has to do with black and white, like a newspaper, and then red all over. It's kind of a little cute pun on words there. But you can see the two layouts, distinctly different, still go together with the same design concept. So let's take a look at some more examples. Here is a sheet where they incorporated it all together. I'd rather you kind of keep them on separate ones, but do notice that this being a holiday collection of some sweaters, they brought in the little motif of snowflakes. So, winter holidays or something kind of keeps fun. So that might be some little design motif that you could keep across your different file pages that still tie everything together. So we've got two different poses here, seeing the garments on a body, but then you also see a flat line drawing of the garments. These incorporate some color, that is okay, or you can leave them plain white. Here's some examples of the garments being left plain white so we can see the details of the clothes, but they either incorporated a border and a background. Also notice that it has some sort of title to it, some kind of catchy name for the collection, and the Siberia collection even has as if you were going to market and wanted to show potential buyers from different boutiques and stores what's the style number for that top or that dress or that skirt, what sizes does it come in, what's the fabric it's made out of, and what's the price. It's very important, and buyers really like to have some kind of line sheet like this because they will see hundreds of different lines when they are at market, and if they can take away a sheet with them that has a good depiction of what they saw at your company and they have all that information right there, they are more apt to make a bigger order with all the information right there at their fingertips. So, using this layout to think about that would be a very good practice for you. Now here are some examples of the design sheets. The student actually from the line sheet over here, if you notice the upper right, the skirt, the dress, the top, and the pants, I think is what I picked. Oh, no, it was another little pair of shorts. So she had all these different line drawings. She'd copy and paste them into that spot, filled out her company name and address and other garment information. Some of that she just, made up. She does have a color grouping as to different colors that garment might be available in. When you copy and paste your line drawing into the field for the sketch, if it moves the bottom part of the page off of the page and onto a second one, all you have to do is hover your cursor right over one of those bottom border lines till you get the little arrow up and down. Click and then drag that line up. All you're doing is shifting the size of the field back to all fit the form on one page. But you can copy the entire form and paste it so that you have a multi-page document of all 4 design sheets in one file as opposed to 4 separate files. You can do either way, but whatever's easiest for you, I'll accept. Here's some examples of some self-portraits. We have some image that part of the background in the picture was cut away. There was some movement. They got moved around. They had some different effects and filters put on, some selection and different colorization, adjustment layers. Somebody used Liquify up there in the top right, and she kind of smeared and um, moved the hair out to the sides and kind of smeared some things there too. So she had a lot of fun with it. Some of that too is some background shapes filled with textures or some effects. And remember, as you do those, you can play around with your stacking order, with your layers. But this really, again, is more of a exercise in exploring the capabilities of Photoshop. And I highly recommend that you explore. The more you do, just the more you're going to discover. And you might even take note as to where you found some kind of effect, because you'll find that you do something really neat. And when you want to remember how you did that, you might not. So write those things down for yourself. All right, here's some examples of the textile design. So a design was done, and then it was recolored in 3 different uh, color schemes, or colorways as it's referred to in the industry. And here is some examples of the mood board with the color story. So your imagery should support the colors that you are picking out for your line, that the line drawings and your sketches are all part of that design concept. So when you make your mood board, use your selection tools so that you have some fun selections. Select around imagery. You can also select basic shapes of ellipses and rectangles, but I want to see some variation in here. Notice they also added some text and some idea of a name or season period, and then built their color squares. All of that is covered in tutorials on my course Connection. And then here's some examples of fashion poses with the garments in Photoshop. These were all started out as just pencil sketches, no color. They were brought into Photoshop either by scanned or photographed artwork, opened up, and then color, and you use your burn and dodge tool to build up the shadows and the highlights in these. Again, there are tutorials to check out on my course Connection to do all that. And here's another example given. I think I found this on the web. But if you have questions, please give me a ring or send me an email. I'm at moamigo@claryssagecollege.com. Or you can reach me in my office after 2 p.m. at 918-298-8200, or on my cell phone, and that is 918-704-4525. If it's before 9:30 p.m., I'll get back to you. If it's after that, I'll get back to you in the morning. You'll have a great week. Take care. Don't get too wet out there. We're scheduled for rain all week, but come next weekend, it's going to be sunshiny, so get your work done so you can enjoy it. Thank you very much.